Yo, neck.
Yeah, it's your boy Shits. Let's go. 2 a.m. sipping on some Hennessy. Cruising down Rodeo on my 2C. Spin a couple.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pretend Pundits. Andy and Sean back again to pretend to know about football. Sean, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, great week this week. Nice and sunny this weekend as well. Nice to just hang out with the kids and family and just do my own thing. It was lovely. How about you?
Nice, mate. Yeah, same. Just enjoying the weather. Short week at work. You know, bank holiday season's just about over now, though, innit? Got to wait until August for another, unfortunately. So another week has passed. More stuff to talk about in the world of football, as always. And another thing gained in common, Sean. We've both finished second to Man City this season.
Yeah, but the great thing is now with you guys losing, means we qualify for the Community Shield. So, pow, pow, pow.
Oh, yeah. So it does. Another fantastic trophy. Liverpool fans will tell you it's a parade-worthy trophy, that one.
That's it. Yeah.
This week, then, we're going to be talking, of course, about yesterday's FA Cup final. Next up after that, 2 down, 1 to go. I think by now you know what that's all about. A little bit of a segment on transfer talk, and then we'll talk about what's to expect now that the football season is pretty much over. So, yeah, let's get straight into it. We're missing our VIP guest this week in the chat, Ben. He's over in Dubai, and he's got to get he's catching his Zeds early tonight for an early start. So, Ben, if you're watching on Catch Up, we miss you, dude. Yeah, we'll see you next week. Be there. So let's go into it then. The FA Cup final kick-started after 13 seconds with Ilkay Gundogan breaking the record for the fastest ever goal scored in an FA Cup final. A big hammer blow to United's chances very early on. But honestly, I'm going to give my thoughts on this very early. I think the 2-1 was a pretty fair reflection of the game. It had all the hallmarks to be one of the best FA Cup finals you've ever seen. It lived up to be it. I think it was quite a good game. Sean, what did you make of it? I know you've been catching up with it today.
Yeah, I saw the highlights. I was out in Lincoln yesterday. But yeah, I think you're probably right. I think 2-1 probably flattered you. And both goals were volleys. What more could you do about either of those goals? And a lot of people are putting a lot of blame on De Gea, but maybe he probably should have saved it. But great technique, great composure, good goals. I'd take nothing away from that.
Yeah, I think for the first, there's nothing you can do about the first one. I mean, especially from De Gea's perspective, you could argue that, he should have been closed down. Gundogan should have been closed down. I think Christian Eriksen may take a little bit of blame in that one. But yeah, first goal, you can't say nothing about. It's a hammer blow early on. But I don't think we were bad value yesterday. If you'd have said to me before the game had even kicked off, you'd seen the game, we'd managed to keep Erling Haaland quiet, Kevin De Bruyne didn't manage to produce much, I would have absolutely snapped your hand off. But that was the case. But unfortunately, Gundogan couldn't be contained. He's had a really terrific, final end to his season. Whether he remains at Man City or not, that's a different question. But I think they were good value for the win, unfortunately. We did have our chances. Just didn't look good enough in attack, I think. You look at Man City's bench as well, the depth that they was able to bring on. Most of their bench players would have walked straight into our starting team. I think our biggest injured players, I think Martial would have started. I think Anthony would have started. And I also think, I know Martinez would have started should he be fit as well. So the game was lost really before it started. So from that perspective, I'm not too disappointed, but it is unfortunate that we couldn't beat them on the way to what looks like an easy treble for them, Sean.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to win the treble now. You are our only hope. You failed us, Anakin.
Yeah. So, as I say, Arsenal, the league was kind of in their hands. Obviously, people knew that Man City had it in them, but Yeah, we couldn't stop them on the big stage. It's just now down to Inter Milan in Istanbul on Saturday then.
Definitely.
Positives to take from there. I mean, some people were saying that Fred had a really good game. I don't see it that way. I don't think Fred is a future option for us at all. I really don't. The penalty decision, did you make of that? The Grealish handball? I mean, I'm going to sound completely biased here, but in the laws of the game, it's a clear handball.
Yeah, I think he's unlucky. He's jumped across. It's Wan-Bissaka, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jumped across Wan-Bissaka. His arms down as the ball's gone over him, and then Wan-Bissaka's has he headed it or he crossed it? I can't remember which one he's done. But basically, yeah, it's close quarters. I've seen them given. I've seen them not given. I think he's with the proximity and how close he is. It's probably unlucky. I do think that the penalty decisions for handball should probably have a bit of a reform. To be fair, because even if that ball went across, there was nobody waiting for that ball.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that to me is not a denial. That's just accidental. Grealish hasn't gone there to do that deliberately to protect the back line from an attacking player. He's just done it inadvertently. So I think there needs to be a bit of a reform there. But I can see why it's given.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at that and say, well, nothing was going to develop from that anyway. However, the fact of the matter is Grealish can't see what's going on back there. He doesn't know that for sure, and he's moving his arm upwards.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can argue it all day long, but for me, it's a very clear handball. I don't think the referee really had that bad of a game, you know, all told. No. He gave a bit of a light yellow card on Wan-Bissaka. I think most people can agree. But
yeah, I see that one.
There was a Casemiro one on, I think, Akanji. I could be wrong. Was it Akanji? I can't even remember now. But yeah, there was one where it looks like he put his studs into the ankle. Again, that's another contentious one. Fred on Kevin De Bruyne. I think he knew exactly what he was doing there, trying to get a penalty. But
oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it all over Twitter today. Oh, they've paid the refs and we've still beaten them. It's just like, look, just give it a break, mate. I don't know what the big hoo-ha is. You know, you was always favourites to win the game. You've got the better squad. You always have done. So it's not, you know, don't act like it's a big surprise. Then you've defeated some giant. You've defeated Man United at the start of a rebuild.
Absolutely, yeah. But
yeah, that's it. Of course, I didn't watch the trophy being lifted. No point. And it's done now. Please.
You didn't see Pep Guardiola burst into tears with Gundogan.
No, he cries all the time, doesn't
he? He cannot be replaced, and then they're going to just pull out Jude Bellingham in the summer or something.
Yeah, he can't be replaced except by like 300 million we're going to spend.
Yeah.
Give it a rest, Pep, for fuck's sake. Grow up.
Yeah.
Who cries?
Go to Turkey, get a hair transplant, you big fraud.
Weghorst scored when he scored against Real Betis, mate. He cried, when he scored. So he's got more of a valid reason to cry than you, mate. Just grow up. Pathetic. Had enough of it. But yeah, all that being said, we'll move on then. So it's 2 down, 1 to go. So a non-Champions League shy winning manager in Pep with the Champions League shy winning team at Man City. It looks like all the stars have completely aligned for Man City to finally get a Champions League. Mm-hmm. And that being said, it will complete a treble at the same time. Is there any chance? Today I wake up and I feel Milano. I feel Inter Milani. Everyone. I feel like, you know, when Scottish football fans change their profile pictures on Facebook to the flags of any team that England are playing. I feel like I need to do that across all my socials now. Just change it all to an Inter Milan badge and go full on pathetic, bitter, salty fan. What do you think?
Yeah, I've always been a massive fan of Lukaku and Stefan de Vries. So yeah, definitely, we're all back in Inter Milan.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that. I've always been a massive admirer of Henrik Mkhitaryan personally. So wherever he goes, I'd love to see him do well.
Yeah, of course. Is Darmian still there?
Yeah, he is actually. No.
Yeah, massive. Oh, no.
Is he? Oh, he could be, yeah.
Yeah, massive Darmian fan.
Yeah, so was I when he left. Is there any chance they win? I mean, you look at yesterday and people with, I was predicting, I said before the FA Cup final yesterday, I said, look, as long as it's not a humiliation, I'll be kind of happy because we're expected to lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on the day, we could well have beat them. We did some things right, but we did a lot of things wrong. Surely there is a chance, like, we can't just write off Inter Milan that easily, can we?
You're right. I mean, we could have lasagna gates. The chefs over at Istanbul might be a massive Italian fan, or it might be an Italian restaurant they go to, and who knows? But
Man City gets some dodgy lamb.
Yeah, that's it. Unless, without any dark arts, I just think that there's too much in that Man City team. I mean, Italian football's on its knees with finances. They can't afford to sign big players like Man City do. So I really don't see beyond Man City, to be honest. I'd love to see it because I'd like to still hold that glimmer of hope that Pep doesn't win a treble. But I think that if he doesn't win it this year, if he doesn't win the treble this year, he is going balls to the wall next season. He is signing some huge players, and he's just going to throw everything at the Champions League again.
Yeah.
I would like to see him win the Champions League and then just bugger off, and that's it. And then we go back to having dross managers like Pellegrini or Sven-Goran Eriksson. Can we please have some crap managers at Man City, please?
Yeah, I'd love it, mate, as well. I think it's just the very ambitious, praying, fingers crossed, toes crossed, carrying around a rabbit's foot, four-leaf clover, thinking that Inter Milan could win this. But as I said, it feels very much like the stars are now just all aligned for Man City to win it, and I fucking hate it. But
I've never won a bet. I bet every Champions League final on something, whether it's the match result or the first goal scorer, and I've never won it. So I'm going to put some bets on Man City to win, and then Inter Milan should win it because I don't win bets.
Yeah, yes, Sean, you are our only hope.
It's all down to my Paddy Power account.
Yeah, I might have to just do the same. I might just have to put a bet on Man City, and then at least, if Man City do win, I can dry my tears with my empty McDonald's wrapper. And treat myself to a big tasty with the winnings.
Yeah. Sounds all right.
Yeah, so it's next week. I think it's 8:00 kickoff, of course. Let's just hope that Inter Milan can produce. Yeah, I am going to be salty. I am going to be bitter. And what I can wear with pride is the honour of knowing that even if they do win the treble, it's just going to be an insignificant treble compared to United's. United did it with academy graduates in a more competitive league. Man City have done it with 115 charges against them, inflating their own finances and cheating their way to it. So enjoy the treble. You deserve it. And yeah, have your little parade.
All the grace and decorum and all that.
Yeah, exactly. That's becoming quite a good quote on this channel now. So yeah, bring it on. Next segment then. We're flying through these quite quickly, but we do have quite a bit to talk about on this fourth segment, which is the transfer talk. So this is obviously going to be propping up the podcasts whilst football's off, because throughout the summer there's always mountains upon mountains of transfer talk, and there's plenty that's coming. As always, with Man United following some sort of result or some sort of upset, there's news. I don't really like to talk about the United transfer news like it's fact, because we've been for sale for so long now, going through a sale process. And realistically, none of this stuff is going to happen until the owners are settled. Yep. So it's all very much speculation at the minute. But there's incomings and outgoings. I'm sure there's the same with Arsenal. A few names on the list. So what we'll do is we'll talk about some of the bigger stories, whether they involve Man United or Arsenal or not. And then we'll talk about related to our club. So we'll try and keep that in for the week. We'll start off with some of the players on Man United's transfer list then, whether that's a target or to be out the door. So Man United, the first one that I saw from earlier on today was Amad Diallo. So he obviously returns on loan from Sunderland, and there's some suitors that are lined up for him to go to on loan again. West Ham, Everton, West Brom. I personally wouldn't like him to go to the Championship. I'd love to see him at a Premier League club. He's shown he can do it in the Championship. So, that's ticked off. Why waste another year in the Championship? He's not going to get the game time at United ahead of, Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, or anyone like that. So, yeah, by all means, loan him out.
I was a bit surprised with him, to be fair, because I thought it was like 30 million he spent on him when you signed him. And then you sent him out to Rangers and he was crap. And I thought, oh my God, you've spent a huge amount of money on Diallo and he's rubbish. And then that second half of the season with Sunderland, he just switched it on. He was incredible. And everything that they did, nobody expected Sunderland to go from League One to Championship playoffs in one season.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just phenomenal for them. So yeah, give him the opportunity. I think I'd personally, if it was me, I'd keep him at the club and I'd loan out Elanga.
Yeah, but that's the thing is Elanga is probably, it's not a case of him or Elanga's going to get their chances. I don't think Elanga's getting chances. I think he's going under the radar. He's probably happy to sit on the bench and be called up whenever needed, but I don't think they're going to be fighting for spaces. I honestly don't. With, as I say, Rashford, what happens with him, who knows, whether he goes up top or on the wing. But yeah, Sancho could go, but it's going to be Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, and possibly a new signing if we look in that area. So I think I think a loan's good, but I just wouldn't want to see him go to the Championship again. You can do it in the Championship, but you can't do it in the Premier League. That's what we know at the minute. We don't fully know. Weghorst is not going to be renewing his contract. Again, it's rumours, but I think there's some truth to this. Why would you sign someone that's got no Premier League goals? Like, why would you? Apparently, Everton want him. So
he just hasn't had the opportunity, mate.
Yeah, no, he hasn't had the opportunity just every single game since he signed. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Weghorst. Again, just a bit of a cult hero. Obviously, his celebrations at the FA Cup semi-final and the Carabao Cup victory just made him a bit of a legend. But yeah, it's not good enough, is it? Really, let's be honest. We don't want memes and smiles and all that stuff. We want to be serious now. Come on. Mount is pictured, of course. The rumours about Mount have sort of what's the word? They've really ramped up over the course of this week. We mentioned it last week. Only a couple of things I want to talk about Mount. The likelihood of him joining is not here nor there. But the first thing I want to talk about is his price. So a very different valuation. Chelsea want 80 million for him. Man United want to pay no more than 50, 60. Thoughts?
Too much. Not the type of player you should be prioritising. Striker first and foremost. That's who you need. But £80 million, that's a hell of a lot of money for a player that's not even getting into a team that finished 12th this season. So too much money. 30 million tops. And I'd do that in performance bonuses personally. I'd probably put 30 million down and maybe bump it up to 50 with winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League, qualification for the Champions League, stuff like that.
Yeah,
because paying 80 million for Mason Mount is obscene.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be 80 million. I say that now. That's probably going to come back to haunt me, but that's what Chelsea want. Now, obviously, Chelsea have gone and spent 120 million on a midfielder that had only ever made 17 professional appearances in a European league. So they're not really one to dictate prices. They've spent the football money's crazy, right? After COVID, obviously it died down a bit, but it just seems to be back into this wacky Mason Mount's 80 million territory. I'd say, you say 30, I get that. I'd say something along the region of 50 million with the performance things in there as well. I think for Mason Mount is fair.
Yeah.
His stats worry me a little bit. I mean, he's got some good areas of ability, but I don't think he's world class. I think my stance on it very much now is Ten Hag is now going into his second year next year. If you look at all of his signings, so Casemiro, Martinez, Weghorst, Malacia, all of his signings, with the exception of Weghorst, Obviously, Butland hasn't played. All of his signings have been good. So we haven't got any reason to not trust him. If this is genuinely what I'm reading, that Mason Mount is wanted by Ten Hag, then why not? I mean, give the bloke a chance. These are going to be the questions from next season. So you can say, right, he's had 7 signings this season, 1's failed. Next season, if he gets another 5 or 6 through the door and another 1 fails, that's a good return rate. There's not many teams you can turn around and say they've signed all these players and they've all worked out, have been a success, maybe 1 failure. So that's something we just need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that's it. And it's good that the club are backing the manager with the signings that he wants. That's a positive step.
Yeah. That's if rumours are to be believed, of course. I think it's true. The whispers and rumblings that have been about the Mason Mount story, it seems like it's pretty much nailed on. Personal issues aren't the problem. It's just whether they can come to an agreement on the fee. The second thing I wanted to talk about was, as part of this deal, apparently Pochettino's a fan of Maguire, so it could see him going the other way. Now, for me, that is not bad at all. If we can use Maguire as some sort of leverage, if they say, right, 80 million or 50 million plus Maguire, that's amazing, right? That's not to be sniffed at. At the end of the day, the fee still is 80 million, but they're also rating Maguire at 30, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, quite why Poch is a fan of Maguire. Can you imagine? Can you imagine Maguire and Koulibaly playing in the same team? It would just be kamikaze.
Wow,
awful. But yeah, let's have it. I want to see them as a defensive partnership.
Yeah, I don't know whether it would be them though. Would it? Fofana, no.
Fofana, maybe they'll play a back three. Yeah, I don't know. They spent a huge amount of money on Koulibaly. You've got to keep him around, surely. Thiago Silva is nearly 38, I think. Does he still play in the team? Maybe.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I think he was their player of the season, wasn't he? He's just been awarded their player of the season. So
yeah, you can't instantly drop him. Imagine dropping your player of the season for Harry Maguire, only for him to spoon 6 in his own net season.
Imagine your player of the season being a defender. That tells you what kind of seasons they've had. Can you remember when Man United was going through the Moyes and Van Gaal eras, and De Gea was our player of the season 4 times?
Oh,
that
horrible!
I know. I felt my body just went cold saying it because I just remember what it was like. But yeah, that's how you know you've fallen. Yeah, Maguire for me. Right, so here's the thing that I completely forgot about. It had gone to the back of my mind. You know, James Milner's going to Brighton, right?
Yep.
Would it not be wild for Man United to enter the race for, instead of Mount, going for Caicedo and using? I think Maguire would go to Brighton. I honestly do. A player with international experience, European football experience. Yeah, he's not the greatest, but I'm sorry, who would you want in that team? That's exactly the sort of player you want. Maybe that's why they've got Milner, just as an older head, an experienced head amongst the others. Again, another thing, Caicedo's valued at around, 70 million?
Yeah,
Caicedo, 50 mil plus Maguire. Why the hell not?
Yeah, you said that Milner has got a experienced and calm head, or whatever it was. He said Maguire's got a large head, so that'd be a great partnership.
Yeah, if it was off head size alone, he's got twice the experience of Milner.
Yeah, I think Harry Maguire is just Lewis Dunk 2.0. He's like, head it out, get it away from my box kind of thing.
Some people might say Lewis Dunk is better than Maguire. I think 90% of people would, but when you boil everything down over the course of their recent years, yeah, they're on par with each other, and just having that experience, I think, might be enough, but who knows? It sounds good from our side because we're getting rid of Maguire. Whether it's good for Brighton or not, who knows?
If you get rid of Maguire, you need another centre-back, definitely.
Yeah, and that's another one on the list here that I've got. Kim Min-jae has just won Defender of the Year, Defender of the Season, in Serie A from Napoli. Again, it almost looks like, just from what I'm hearing on Twitter, it looks like he's pretty much done. He's been in talks with Man United. He's been apparently in calls with Erik Ten Hag. So that's looking like a positive one, but we'll see. I think you have a look at Man City. Again, it's always comparing to Man City because they are the benchmark. They've got Laporte, Diaz, Ake, Akanji. They've got so much depth in that position. Stones, sorry, yeah, of course. You kind of you tend to forget that you need that amount of players. You think, well, we've got Varane and we've got Martinez, and Lindelof is a perfectly good step in, but you think, no, still need another. I don't know all that much about that Kim Min Jae. From what I've heard, again, he is quite a good player. Defender of the season isn't to be sniffed at. Koulibaly was defender of the season before he went to Chelsea. So if that's a benchmark to go on, it could go either way. But
he's got release clause as well, isn't he? So he's not going to go for stupid money. Is it 35 mil or something?
I think it's 40 million.
Is it 40 mil?
It's somewhere. It's not a ludicrous figure. That's all I know. Yeah,
because Koulibaly cost was it 80 million for Chelsea, and he was obviously Napoli's centre back the season before. So if he didn't have a release clause, you'd expect another sort of 80 million or so. So yeah, not a bad price deal, to be fair.
It's great that he's got that release clause because Napoli and Man United typically they've been hard to deal with.
Osman is deal with everyone, to be fair.
Yeah, Osman is another one, of course, becomes the first ever African player to win the Golden Boot in Serie A as well. Another target for Man United. From what I've been seeing, that's a target should the Harry Kane thing not materialise. And that's the perfect segue to talk about Harry Kane because fresh rumours emerging that he could be on his way to Real Madrid.
Could you imagine?
I don't think I could imagine him at Real Madrid. I think he would do well. But again, all it boils down to is, does he want that Premier League goal scoring record?
I think he does. I think that is above everything. I actually think he's going to sign a new contract with Spurs.
Really?
Honestly, I think the guy is very comfortable being a one-club man.
But surely he wants to win trophies, right?
I don't think he does. I don't think. Well, obviously he does. He wants to win trophies, but I think he wants to win them at Spurs. I genuinely. I think he's got ambition, but I don't think he's got the balls to move. Because it might not work for him. He might not fit into a style of play. The team is not going to be built around him in the same way that it is at Spurs. He's not number one potentially wherever he goes. Because Real Madrid could sign him this year, and then next year they could go and sign another £100 million player. I honestly don't think that Harry Kane's going to leave. I think he will sign a new contract.
Yeah, I think there's one thing that definitely doesn't happen with the Harry Kane scenario. I think he doesn't not sign a contract and stay at Spurs. I think if he stays at Spurs, he signs a new contract. I don't think he stays and then leaves for free next year because you can't. For Harry Kane, I don't think it feels right to go into the last year of his contract with that unsecure future. Obviously, someone's going to get him for free, so it will be absolutely wild. But I think you're right. I think he'll either sign for another club or sign a new deal at Tottenham. I don't think he'll leave for free. Dan Levy would just not allow that to happen.
No, and if it ever felt like it was going to happen, then he would be actively marketing to try and get him out for, even in January, he'd be pushing him for sure.
Yeah, there was some talks as well that this Real Madrid link might just be a bit of a false spin because no one apart from Man United are in for him. So that's probably
drum up interest.
Yeah, probably saying if Man United are the only club interested in him, we'll just wait until next year then. If he doesn't sign a deal and he wants to join us, we'll wait until next year for free. Whereas if you can turn around and go, well, no, Real Madrid are interested. They're offering 70 million. What are you going to offer? Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I'd love Maguire. I'd love Harry Kane, but I'd prefer Osman. But Harry Kane is a 25 goal a season scorer. I know you're only going to get 2-3 years out of him, but if it wins you stuff, who cares?
Absolutely. It's a little bit similar to Declan Rice. Declan Rice has been rumoured to go to Bayern Munich this week. Apparently, Thomas Tuchel flying over to meet him in London or something. I don't think he's ever going to want to go to Bayern Munich. Why would he go to Bayern Munich? Are not going to pay him 250 grand a week to play in their central midfield because he's not a goal scorer. So I think that's just trying to drum up interest and say, hey, Arsenal, look, there's other clubs that are interested. You best pony up 120 million or you can forget about it. And meanwhile, Arteta's gone, I've already spoken to him. The deal's done, mate.
Yeah. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in some sort of transfer negotiations, whether that's from a club side, an agent side, or a player. I'd just love to see the inner workings of a transfer. There's obviously so much to it. The Harry Kane stuff is an easy rumour to make, obviously, because Benzema has just played his final game for Real Madrid.
Yeah. There's not a lot of top world-class strikers out there currently.
No, you're right. I don't think there is. The last one that I've got for players is Man United. Rasmus Højlund from Atalanta. The most famous transfer thing ever to happens every single year. He follows someone on Instagram from Man United. I think he followed Mark Goldbridge and Garnacho. So therefore, he's signing for Man United confirmed, right?
Well, naturally, if you were ever going to join a new club, it's Mark Goldbridge that you follow first, isn't it?
That's it. So apparently that's done. He's in the £60 million region. Now,
what?
Yeah. Do you pay the 100 million for a Kane, 150 million for Osman, or do you pay the 60 million for Højlund? That's the question.
You know that if you sign Højlund, everybody's going to make the comparisons with him and Haaland. And it's like, oh, you've got Haaland from Wish.com and you've signed Højlund or Haaland or whatever it's called.
That's exactly it. He's Danish. His name's nearly Haaland, so...
Yeah. Scores 4 goals a season. It's like, oh, we signed him, bought him off of Wish.com.
That's it. I think it would be stupid to go for him personally, but it sounds... At the minute, it sounds the most likely. But that would be him getting signed as a second striker because we need to. We can say that we need to prioritise a striker. I'm sorry, we need a first choice and a second choice.
It seems batshit crazy to spend 60 million on a backup striker, though, doesn't it?
But do you pay less? Someone who's unproven?
Tricky, isn't it?
Evan Ferguson, I think, was another option until he signed a new deal.
Yeah, that would have been a great signing. Again, I don't think that they would have let him go for a small amount of money.
But it's almost so easy to do these things on paper. You can say, right, here's the players that we know we want rid of. So it's Maguire. That's an easy 30 million to your budget. We want rid of McTominay. Again, that's another 20 million to your budget. And then we've already got 250 to spend, so that's 300. But it just never works like that. Like you were saying earlier on, big clubs, other than Man City, don't sell players or don't sell well.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I hope we can get a striker over the line quickly. I think Ten Hag has come out and said that he wants them to be a part of him with pre-season. Obvious.
Yep.
But yeah.
The biggest signing you need to make in the summer is signing Rashford down to another year contract.
Yeah, I think that's true as well. De Gea is another one that's out of contract.
Yeah.
I don't think... He's got mistakes in him, yes, but he's not a priority. Like, we need another goalkeeper, but I wouldn't be making it, especially when you're so desperate for 2 strikers. I'd say another centre-back and a midfielder. I wouldn't say goalkeeper is high priority. I wouldn't be disappointed if we got a new goalkeeper, of course, but the budget's a budget, right?
Do you think Dean Henderson's proven himself at Forest, or do you think the bridge is burnt? He is never playing for the club again.
I wouldn't say he'd come back. No, I think you could get some good money for him. That's the only positive.
Yeah.
But he's been injured for a lot of the end of the season anyway, hasn't he? So
he has. Yeah. So Arsenal have got a couple of transfer rumblings. Nothing much at the moment. Caicedo is obviously a big transfer target for Mikel Arteta. He flirted with him in January. He signed a new contract. I think on the promise that he was able to leave in the summer if an acceptable bid comes in.
Yeah.
After the last game of the season, De Zerbi said that him and McAllister had probably played the last games and he couldn't begrudge them going to a Champions League club. So that's pretty much saying, kind of takes away their negotiating power a little bit after they say things like that. But if Arsenal go in with another 60, 70 million, that's a hell of a signing for us. I'd love to sign him and Rice if I could. What's the likelihood of us spending out 100 and what would we need? 160 million for 2 central midfielders? I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd love to see it happen. And then we've got supposedly Ivan Fresneda from Real Valladolid, which is a backup right back for Ben White, which just hopefully gets rid of Cedric, gets him out of that fucking door. But
yes, of course, Fresneda, I've heard of him. Not.
Yes, well, he's Spanish. He's a right back. Apparently, he's quite a tall right back. So I wonder whether or not Mikel Arteta's got maybe plans to put him into a back three, or just have a really tall right back. We have Tomiyasu, who's been a right back, but he's just had an awful season for injuries. I wonder whether Mikel Arteta's maybe got the hump with him and thinks, let's get rid of him. Let's sell him whilst we can get some money out of him. I don't know. Not for me. I think he's a good backup choice. Even playing at left back, he played at left back over Kieran Tierney against Liverpool earlier in the season to shackle Salah. He did a really good job at left back. Imagine choosing your right back over your backup. Choosing your backup right back over your backup left back. It's got to be a bit of a nail in the coffin for Kieran Tierney, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've seen he's been linked with Newcastle, right, quite heavily. So
massively, and Villa.
Yeah, Villa are in for bloody what's his name from Real Madrid as well. Is it Asensio?
Asensio, yeah, and Vlahovic apparently.
Yeah, so big moves happening. I think I'd say probably the biggest 2 signings of this window, or the biggest 2 names, it's going to be Jude Bellingham and Caicedo. I think they're going to be ones to watch. The point you make about De Zerbi saying they've probably played the last game for Brighton, I don't think that does take away any negotiating power because multiple clubs want them. So I think once you've got 2 clubs that you know are willing to spend the money on them, I think that already does the speak. And I think I rate De Zerbi for saying that as well, because I don't like the PR answer. I don't like the neutral sitting on the fence answer that people give all the time. I like that, you know, like Ten Hag, he did an interview before the FA Cup final, and he was asked the questions about, you know, De Gea and so on, and he didn't shy away from the questions. He said, you know, De Gea, yeah, you know, we want to build a squad. He's made mistakes and he needs to improve on them. You know, I like that De Zerbi's been honest and said, look, you know, we know who we are. We know we're Brighton. We're not a big team. And we know these players want to leave. But, yeah.
Well, we'll see what goes on.
Yeah. Last thing, then, not player related, but manager related. It looks like Spurs have entered some serious talks. Finally, someone's agreed to join them as a manager. And it's Celtic's manager. Oh, I'm not even going to say this right. Postecoglou.
Well, I see that he had a bit of he sounded off the other day, didn't he? He sounded off in a weird way, where he said that when he came to Celtic, people thought he was a bit of a joke, but they're not laughing now. And the love and the respect that he's got from Celtic fans, he says is incredible. So it's nice to see that somebody appreciates a Spurs manager, but Daniel Levy won't, and I don't think he'll last for very long. To be fair,
no, I don't get this, and I mean this, you know, with all due respect to the Scottish League, it's not the highest quality of leagues, and the only comparison I can make in my head to this Postecoglou guy, without having watched any, is that he's gone to Celtic, won all the trophies, done the business. Brendan Rodgers did that. Like, you're not putting Brendan Rodgers' name. I've said that he would probably be the one to go to Tottenham through lack of other options, but surely he's he's no better than a Brendan Rodgers, right? Another manager that's recently been successful in Scotland, Steven Gerrard, gone to Villa and had them sat in almost in relegation.
Yeah, and let's be fair to Brendan Rodgers, very close to winning the title with Liverpool. If it wasn't for Christian Bull. But
true.
So he's a good Premier League caliber manager, and I think he's just had the carpet pulled out from underneath him at Celtic. There's no funds; they had to sell all of their top players in the summer. Yeah, I feel sorry for Brendan Rodgers in a way. I wouldn't wish it Spurs on him. I think it would just be too painful for him. Jose Mourinho, he should have stayed.
Yeah, but I mean, if you compare Liverpool and Spurs to when he almost won the title with Liverpool, it's similar in the way that it was built around one big name, you know, fringe players around the side. Equally, there are some good players in there, you know, so your Steven Gerrard is your Harry Kane and your Heung-min Son is your, I don't know, whatever other fringe players they had built around them there.
Luis Suarez.
Okay, Luis Suarez was probably better. But player for player, you probably wouldn't say it's too far different, right?
No. Probably not.
So he probably could go to Spurs and do a good job. I'm just saying that the Scottish League probably isn't a good barometer for a Premier League manager. He might be good within his own right. Where was he before that?
Oh.
Wasn't it like Steaua Bucharest or something like that?
Yeah, it wasn't a very it wasn't a good reputation club. I don't even think it was Steaua Bucharest, was it?
Let's have a look.
Celtic manager.
Postecoglou. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, no. He was at
Omaha Marinos.
Oh, my God. Yeah. So he was at his Japanese club.
Yeah.
Arsene Wenger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my. So, yeah, a lot of Australian teams. Whittlesea.
No.
What?
Oh, okay. That's not Whittlesea over here.
Brunswick Juventus. I was thinking, surely it's not fucking Whittlesea in the heart of the Fens. And then some Greek team, Panachiki.
So, yeah, it could surprise us. If any of our Celtic fans are watching, let us know what you think of him. Yeah. Does he deserve the Spurs job? Could he take the job on at Spurs? How's he done this season at Celtic?
Well, realistically, if you stay at Celtic, he knows he's guaranteed 2 trophies next season, minimum.
Yeah.
So maybe he wants to challenge, but yeah, good luck to him. I think what I saw on Twitter earlier, there's a key 24 to 48 hours coming up, so there might be some news this week on that. Just before we move on then from transfer talk and get the show wrapped up, was there any other ones that you've seen that I've missed out on?
Benzema, Luka Modric, Jordi Alba, Busquets, and possibly Messi all to the Saudi League. Where do you think? Where do you stand on the Saudi League and its newfound love for old and aging players? Is it just the MLS 2.0?
I wouldn't even say it's as good as the MLS because the MLS actually has fans. I'd say it's more like a China Super League 2.0.
Yeah.
That was doomed from the beginning because you couldn't have more than 3 foreigners in a team, could you? So it was just sprinkling random Brazilian talent amongst, a load of Chinese roofers. And I think on the opening day, they built this massive stadium in China and there was a 90,000 capacity and 5,000 people turned up for the first game or something. Saudi has more fans, but I just think it's doomed to fail because all they're doing is just chucking a load of money at it. And they're getting washed players. I know you have to start somewhere, but surely you start from the ground up. You invest in the grassroots. You have appealing players to add them stars to. Like name one of Cristiano Ronaldo's Saudi teammates.
Hassan. I'm sure they've got a player called Hassan.
Yeah, there's definitely a Hassan. He's definitely playing with someone called Mohammed, right? But no, literally, name 3 teams in that league.
Al Sayed, Al Bin, Al Bundy. I don't know.
Al Bundy, isn't that not a serial killer? I know that's Ted Bundy.
Yeah, Al Bundy's from Married with Children.
So there's Al Nasser, Al Hilal, and that's where my knowledge stops.
Yeah, I
Al
did.
Al Ittihad, is that one?
I don't know.
All I know is they've got a big number 1 as a logo.
I was speaking to my mate Jordan about this earlier today. I thought, is this not like a Real Madrid potential? I don't know if Benzema's going on a free or if they're selling him. But if Benzema, Luka Modric all go to a Saudi team, let's say they get a little bit of money out of them. Is that? I mean, nobody's ever going to buy Luka Modric. He's 37. He's got no resale value and is on stupid wages. Is that not just Real Madrid's way of getting a little bit of money? Or, I mean, nobody will know how much money, but potentially bolstering their accounts. Do you think the Saudi league is propping up Real Madrid? Do you think that they're a bit of money laundering there?
Very deep. It's very late on a Sunday night to get my tinfoil hat on, Sean. I have to say, I've got to get up for work in the morning, but you could be right. There could be something to it. There could be some handshakes going on somewhere. You look at with the Super League doomed before it even begins. You know, it could be something along them lines. Barcelona are in dire straits. Real Madrid are pretty much the same. Juventus and others. So if you start seeing big money moved around for some of these players, you're going to ask questions naturally, but I don't think it's to that degree. It's just you're right. They're the household names, aren't they? Messi, Ronaldo, Modric, you know, Ballon d'Or winners.
Yeah. Jordi Alba and Busquets, who are stalwarts. Yeah, definitely.
Iconic Barcelona, you know, this massive worldwide club. You know, you look.
Iniesta, of course, has just finished his contract at that Kobe team in Japan. So maybe you could get the band back together, get them all over into the Saudi league.
Yeah, I mean, again, name one of Iniesta's teammates from Kobe. It's just so strange to me why these big players go to these leagues. Like, if it takes off, fair play to them, but who's going to watch it? I'm sorry, but even knowing that them players are going there, they're old and washed, I'm not going to watch it.
No, definitely not.
I'll see highlights online as I'm flicking through, but I just don't get it. I think it's massive for Saudi and, you know, the people there, but that's it. That's the extent of it.
Absolutely.
I think I'd even argue that more people in Saudi Arabia watch the Premier League than will watch any of them games.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody's watching those games.
I don't know. That's the question, I think, more so. What are they trying to build over there? What's the end goal from this? Because just parading around all these 38-year-old El Clasico legends, it's not going to do anything, is it? Like,
no.
It's just showing off. I think they've just got more money than sense out there, you know.
I wonder if somebody somewhere is trying to line up another Messi and Ronaldo grudge match, or like a rivalry where they're both in the Saudi league playing for rival teams.
But it's happened, hasn't it? They did that. PSG, was it some All Stars? Was it like Saudi All Stars or something recently?
Oh yeah, they did that. Yeah.
And I didn't watch that. Like, I didn't care about that. I think it's so prehistoric now, especially going on Twitter. You got Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi fans. It's just dated now. All I care about is Mbappe versus Haaland, mate. It's the future. They've had their time. I'm not going to be sitting down going, oh, what time's the Saudi League game on? Do you know what I mean?
The last transfer I want to talk about, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, is that I heard a rumor about Alexis Sanchez coming to Arsenal on a free. Oh, I spoke about it last week, did I? I won't talk about it anymore then.
But there hasn't been any progression.
No, but I would. He's grown a mustache now, so that makes me want him even more.
Well, there you go. Mustache, Ted Lasso season finale, without spoiling it for obviously anyone who might be watching that's not seen it.
Broke my heart, but an excellent finale.
Yeah, it's a great series. I honestly never thought I'd be into it this much. When I first started watching Ted Lasso, I was like, when's the football happening? Come on. Like, I want to see more games. But, I like all the off-the-field stuff now. But, yeah, please, give us a season 4. We'll probably be able to have more time now that the season's over during the pods to talk about some non-football stuff. So we can talk TV shows and what we're doing with no football on, mate. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself at the weekend. Honestly, don't know. I hate it.
Grow a mustache.
I kind of got one. So I'll just shave everything else off but the mustache.
Yeah, that's it. Just one of those ornamental, twizzly ones.
There was one. I'm going to have to try and dig out a picture. I cheated a little bit because there's a thing, isn't there, in this country, Movember.
Oh, yeah.
You meant to grow a mustache for November. But what I did was, because my facial hair doesn't grow as quick as normal men, is I gave myself a head start. So I had this level of facial hair now, and then I shaved it into a mustache and then just left it from there. But I had one of them ones. So it goes, Sean can't see me as we record this, right? But I had a mustache like normal, and then it goes down like into my goatee. The chin was completely bald, and then they went up the sides, like sideburns. Ugh. So it was just funny, and I didn't get rid of it all through November. I'll post a picture in the Discord or something later. But
yeah. If I want to scare the children, I'll dig out that photo.
Oh mate, honestly, it looks like I'm a bag of Werther's short and a van short from getting a restraining order. It was bad, but yeah. That just about completes the pod for this week then, Sean. Coming up, I've just added a little picture over there to the effect of the TikTok page. So again, the TikToks, we did slow down a little bit, but we're consistently putting out content on there now. We're really having fun with it. So if you haven't done so already, give us a follow over on TikTok. We've got more plans for it, more stuff recorded, edited, ready to go out all week. We're also going to try some non-football related stuff on there as well, because there's going to be no football. What are we meant to do? Watch Coronation Street? Piss off.
I don't want to learn how to play cricket.
Oh, mate, I saw cricket actually on Sky Sports. You know when you turn a channel on from you was watching it the day before, and then you turn it on and you're like, what the hell is this? That happened the other day with cricket. And Ireland was playing, and I was like, Ireland don't play cricket. What is the world coming to? Who's watching this?
Yeah.
And golf as well. Who watches golf on TV? Come on. Sort it out.
Women cricket, that's the one. That's the funny one. We see them throw it, and then it goes past the stumps, and then they have to go get it again, and then they throw it back, and it's gone past the stumps again. It's the old silent movies not silent movies because they wouldn't be silent, but with the Benny Hill theme tune with it. It's like nah.
It's the end of play. We've only done 2 overs. Yeah, I know cricket. What of it? That's it then, Sean. Anything else before we wrap it on up for the night?
No, nothing in my list.
No, please say something. I don't want to go to work tomorrow. Yeah, that'll do us then. We'll keep bringing out more stuff. But as always, we're going to try and make a bit of a push on the Discord. So if you're watching this and you're not in the Discord, the first link you'll see in the video description is the Discord link. Get yourselves in there. Chat with us and the community throughout the week. We send memes, we chat shit. We've got the FPL in there. So next season, we're going to get an FPL league going. Whoever finishes lower between me and Sean's going to have to do a forfeit. And there will be a prize of some sort for people who finish in the top 3. And yeah, just that's about it, really. I can't say any more than that. If you've got to this stage of the video or the pod without doing so, give a like to the video as well. It really does help. And yeah, we'll see you next week for episode 32.
Exciting.
Yeah, take it easy, Sean. Bye-bye.
See you later.